one of the long-time sponsors of That's What G Said podcast from the very beginning, and a good friend of mine, Cindy Carava. We always have to check in with her every now and then to see how things are going in the world of real estate. And over the last couple of years, Cindy, since we've started to working together, how things have changed. There's been a pandemic. People were not going anywhere. Now people are back out. Everyone's looking for homes. And you've got a lot of really important information that is pivotal to everyone. I think everybody has a home. Everyone's looking to buy, to rent. And some of the things that you're going to tell us, it's like a trickle down effect, and it really impacts everyone. So I was thinking that it was a great time for us to kind of check in again and talk about everything that's going on in the world of real estate and with the markets.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Gino. Again, thanks for letting me be on the podcast today. And yeah, I just really felt like it was important to kind of get the words out there. What is going on? I actually had the privilege of going to a real estate conference a couple of weeks ago, and kind of hearing what the experts are predicting. Obviously nobody has a crystal ball, but really what the experts are saying, what they're forecasting, what is going to be happening, what is happening right now in the market. And I do get answer that question all the time. Cindy, how is the market? Are we headed for a crash? Are we in a housing bubble right now? So I really just kind of wanted to take this time, because I really thought this would apply to everybody, whether you're a homeowner or you're thinking about buying or selling. It's just kind of like a general overview of really, how's the market right now? You know what I mean? And, obviously the first two things that come to mind that I really want to go over, is interest rates, and inventory and home prices or home values. So let's go ahead and dive in and let's talk about interest rates. So actually some of these slides, Gino, that you're going to be showing is some of the ones that were actually at my conference. Actually, most of them all were. And so like I said, I want to pull up the first slide. So actually, home interest rates were kind of around the 5%. So go ahead and you can hit that first slide.
Okay. And
yeah, it shows, like this was dated back around the end of May, that it looks like mortgage rates or interest rates at that time were about 5.25. You can see the gradual major increase. It started back in December. We were looking at in the threes, and as the months have gone on by and the weeks have gone on by, this is where it was on on May 19th. We were looking at a 30-year fixed. Obviously has to depend on your FICO score, your credit scores, and how much you're putting down too. But we went from like I said, December, November, December, looking at around the threes, and now we are up in the end of the fives. So that was one of the that quickly. Yeah. One of the hugest increases in interest rates in a very long time. Yeah.
That's movement. And we follow that up with a look at how it's, so what's the trend going to be like moving forward from that?
Well, as you can see in the next slide, I actually, in a couple of weeks later, the new rate, look at what it was, on May 19th, we were looking at a 5.25. It went down like the week later, and then it went down again as of June 2nd, so we were, on June 2nd, we were at, 5.09. Today, the feds came out with a little increase, about 0.75%, so we're looking more now, around the 5.5 to 6%, again, depending on your credit scores, and your, how much you're putting down, right? Whether you're putting down, 20% or less is going to definitely make a change in what your interest rates are. So, that's kind of what's going on right now. And like I said, glad to have that information today that I said the Fed's just released today, that we did go up about 0.75 point today. So
now we have what's really good about getting to go to conferences and getting information like the information that you received is you get to hear from people on all sorts of different sides, right? So you're not really hearing from like one group of people pushing one agenda, right? You're getting all the different sides. So you get to really hear what's going on all over the place. And we've got some good quotes too throughout a few of these slides that we want to show just from experts and different people kind of projecting or predicting or just advising some things to do moving forward.
Right. As you can see, this one's from Freddie Mac. I think some of the other ones are from Realtor.com. So yeah, very, very relevant, graphs for sure.
Now, what do we have next that we want folks to take a look at about the mortgage rates continuing to move higher? Right? Was this the quote from Len Kiefer, I believe?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, so let's pull up that quote, and yeah, this is great because I was talking to you about this the other day. We are literally in the process of doing all of this right now. My family, I think a lot of people who are, you know, that are listeners to this show that are probably in my age range or so, that are having new families, that are, trying to figure out, are we going to go buy right now? Are we going to continue to rent? What do we need to do? This is the information that I think people need to hear because it helps you make really important
Make
decisions.
an informed decision. Absolutely. And as you can see from the slide, mortgage rates are likely to continue to move higher throughout the balance of this year. Although at a pace, rate increases is likely to moderate. We're going to kind of see maybe like a little stabilization. Much of the increase in rates is in early 2022 is in anticipation of what was going to happen later this year, especially with the Federal Reserve interest rate policy. Like I said, we did see it today. It did go up about 0.75%. But like I said, it's just kind of letting people know what they're forecasting, what they're seeing is, yes, we are going to continue to see interest rates, increase a little bit. It's not going to be as drastic as it was from December to now, which it went up tremendously. We're going to see it at a much slower pace.
And the next thing I think we were going to look at was just comparing what it's been like through the years,
exactly.
Right? Because we sometimes can get in the bubble of like, oh my, look at what it is like right now. But when we look at what it's been like through the decades and through the years, we're still not really in the bad spot.
No, exactly. We talked about this. This is a graph over the last 50 years. You've got, 8.86 in the 70s. You've got in the 80s, it was 12.7. In the 90s, it was 8.12. I can tell you that when my husband and I bought our first house, it was 7.5% in the 90s. Now, we started coming down, and so even though we're maybe pushing that 6%, we're still better off where we are now than we were back in the 1980s. And I think, like I said, we just got a little spoiled. We like I said, we did have interest rates around 3%, the beginning of the year. And obviously things are a little different now. But still, if you look at, over history over the last 50 years, we're still within a lower range than we have been, which is good news. And it's still a great time to buy. The other thing I want to talk about too is not only, maybe, interest rates for a conventional loan are not your thing. And, maybe, what they call an adjusted rate mortgage is a little better, and obviously, talking to a lender about that, what is a better, loan for you? Is it a conventional loan like we're talking about here, or is it one of those adjustable rate mortgages? And if, again, like I like to say, if you don't have a lender that you are currently working with, I have two phenomenal lenders that I work with, Lisa with Home Street Bank and Gianna with Prime Lending. So they're both great people to use and ask for questions,
and that's a
ask for
great
answers.
point.
So
And we're talking about obviously the process of everything, buying a home, and if you need anything in the world of real estate, just like Cindy was saying, if you just need some help being connected with the lenders, or maybe on a smaller scale, you're looking to improve your home, right? You like the home you have right now, you like your spot, but you know what? Maybe you need help, gardeners, painters, landscapers, some folks that maybe you don't really have connections with. Those are all things that you're able to help with. I mean, you can go through a checklist of like anything that you need. If you contact Cindy, she'll be able to point you in the right direction.
Absolutely. Actually, just had a phone call yesterday from a past client. We closed escrow on her house about 3 months ago, and she is looking to do some electrical work on the house. She wants to add some outdoor lighting, and so obviously I had an electrician for her. So yes, I can do just about pretty much anything for you. And the good thing is that these are people all I've used in my own home and trust them and know their work is very good.
Yep. And so it's going to save you having to look around. It's going to save you time. It's going to make your life a lot easier as we continue on here talking about some of the very important things that Cindy found out over the last couple of weeks, and the way that the market is going to move. So I believe next we have is it the Shivani Peterson, the mortgage expert quote?
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's coming up right here.
Yeah, basically just letting you know, if you're looking to buy a home, I would still recommend, and definitely do, that you do so even at the higher interest rates that we're seeing, because we have no reason to believe that home prices are going to stop appreciating. Home values are going up is only a problem when you're trying to buy. But when you already own it, it's actually a gift and it's instant equity into your pocket. So I would rather see my clients put money in their pocket instead of a landlord's pocket.
Yeah, that's one thing we've been talking a little bit about too, just trying to, it's because it's hard and it's, people don't like talking about it, but what ends up happening is when you don't have as much money, it's harder to plan ahead, right? When you're
Yes.
living, when you're not able to comfortably put away this money or say, okay, right now we have the money to go buy a house. It's harder. You know that I only have this much, so we have to use this for the rent and this and that, but you end up looking back and you know,
Right.
it's like how many times for when you're living paycheck to paycheck, you pay something a little bit late and then you got to pay a fee. And then you look back afterwards and you go, how much money did I just, if I would have been able to and sometimes it's not your fault. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you can do anything to get yourself ahead a little bit and
Yeah.
understand that this money is going to be putting, you know, putting you and your family in a home and you're investing in yourself moving forward.
Right. No, exactly. And I talk about that all the time. Actually, you and I had that conversation. Even, we all have our dreams of, wanting to buy our dream home, but realistically in California, that's tough. So, I'm trying to encourage my buyers, even if it's a small home, even if it's a condo, get yourself into something, sit there for 2 or 3 years while your home value and equity goes up, and then take that equity out of that house and then move on to the next home that maybe is a better fit for your family. But at least do something, put money in your pocket, not a landlord's pocket.
So for all of us
So
out there, now we have home prices, right? The
yeah,
forecasting
exactly. That's one
for
of the second things
2022.
that I wanted to dive into, is what we all talk about, is what where are home prices going and what's the inventory like. And good news, I can tell you, values are still rising. We are definitely looking at a slower pace than we were last year. Typically, as you can see from the graph here, last year most home prices went up, or values went up, about 20%. This year, the experts are, predicting that home prices are going to go up around 9% across the board. And we're going to continue, to kind of be on the more what they call normal trend over the next, 4 years. And that's pretty good news, that we're still going to keep increasing just much at a slower pace than we were this last year.
And
So actually, I think the next slide is really cool to be able to show that as well.
it's because you do the percentages in your head, right? We all know that, oh yeah,
Yeah,
things are just going to go up each year little by little. But when you see the numbers and how
right.
much it is projected just over the next few, so let's pull
Well, and
this
like I
one
said,
up.
and keep that in
And
mind, that 9% that they're talking about this year is on top of what already happened last year, you know. And
yeah, here it
here's
is
a
right.
great example. We talked about this earlier. If you purchase something right now in 2022, look where you're going to be in 5 years. So it begs, to ask that question. Should I buy sooner than later? Well, heck yeah. Almost 100,000 equity, or home value increase in 5 years is actually a really, really good return on your investment. So again, like we talked about, even if it's not your dream home right now, and it's a condo or it's a small house, it's perfectly great to go ahead and at least get into something now and let your money grow for you.
Yeah. Those are like eye popping numbers. They really are.
Right. Oh,
To see
exactly.
almost
And
a
that's
hundred
huge. Yeah.
thousand in just
Yeah.
2027, and
Yeah.
we
And
are very.
you and I both know how quickly time goes.
Yeah. If you have your little ones out there, right? If you're thinking about your family and moving forward, and when you got to start to settle down a little bit, and even if not, right? Even if you're just someone that's watching this and that's noticing what it's like and realizing, okay, we were thinking about maybe next year, maybe in 2 years or towards the end of the year. But if you have a situation or you find something you like right now, you should go get it. You really should, because it
Yeah.
feels like it's only going up in value right now, Cindy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, we're not going to be at the 20%, increase of value like we were, last year, but, we are going to see a steady growth, and it's going to be a more normal growth, but as you can see from the graph, I mean, it's still great growth. So it's still like behooves you, if you're even on the fence right now, to be buying, to definitely buy for sure.
And
The
then
next thing
I
I
think
wanted to delve into is inventory. Experts, this is a great quote that I saw from Realtor.com. Experts don't believe the market is in a bubble or a crash is in the cards, like during the Great Recession. The nation is still suffering from a housing shortage that has reached crisis proportions at a time when many millennials, hint, hint, Gino, that's your
Yep.
age, are reaching the age when they start to consider home ownership. That's likely to keep the prices high. It comes to the supply and demand, the basic concept. There's not a lot of supply out there, and there's still a huge demand. So that's going to continue to keep, prices, a little on the higher side. Like I said, we are going to see a more normal growth, over the next few years, but we are still going to see a growth. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was, the housing shortage. A healthy market in real estate is where we have about a 6-month supply of homes for sale. About 2 months ago, we actually had less than 2 months worth of inventory on the market. Now we're kind of bouncing back a little bit. We've got maybe about a 2 to 3 month window, but we are still exactly what they're talking about here. We're in a housing shortage. During COVID, we had builders not building, and that was really tough. And and like I said, and then with just everything that happened, we are definitely definitely in a shortage. So like I said, I think that we're still going to be seeing, what we're seeing for sure.
And that's what sort of leads us, I think, to one of the final things that we wanted to talk about, how while it feels like, either side, it's tougher right now to be a buyer because there aren't as many. Like we said, there's a shortage. It's definitely nice to be on the side when you're a seller, because, it's still in seller's court. But like you said, that it's not as if we're going to go into a crash or a recession right now. It's starting to feel getting back towards being healthy.
Yeah, exactly. A healthy market, or even, you could even consider it, before the pandemic, a more of a normal market. Exactly. It's gonna be interesting to see, what happens over the next, 3 to 6 months, but, bottom line, it's still a great time to sell. It's still a great time to buy, for exactly the reasons that, we talked about. It's still a great time to sell because we've got low inventory. So if there's not a lot of houses for buyers to choose from, that seller is going to still be able to get a really good price for their property. It's still a good time to buy because, we're still, even though we're not at 3% interest rates, we're still historically low over the last 50 years, which
And
is
it's
great.
going up. And if you
And
buy
it's
now,
going up.
what you're buying
Exactly.
now is going to be worth in 2 years and 3 years. We just saw the graphics, 30,
Yep.
40, $50,000 more than what you just spent
Yep.
right now. And there are going to be people out there with this shortage that are looking for more and probably willing to offer like above market value for a lot of these homes
Yeah,
out there.
exactly. I think we definitely will see a shift. And obviously, this is summertime. A lot of more people do put their houses on the market during summer, so we will see a little bit of an increase in in homes for sale. So definitely help the supply. And like I said, that's where we're seeing the supply coming up a little bit. We're not going to. I don't see any indication, and the experts aren't either, that we're going to be at what we would consider, like I said, a healthy market of 6 months worth of inventory. We're not there yet. It's going to take time. So again, it is still a great time to sell for sure. One of the other slides I had, and I didn't have a chance to give it to you, but it does. It looks like we are heading into a recession. But with that said, a recession doesn't mean that and it doesn't equal a housing crisis.
No.
We've actually had 6 recessions over the years, and only of those 6, only 2 of them were actually home values went down. 1991 and 2008, which we all know was the crash, the market crash. Again, that was very much lender driven, because literally, Gino, they were giving you a loan. They were not verifying your income, your job, anything, and we're
Anybody
getting
was getting, yeah.
anybody that had a blue shirt on that day got a loan. So that's where we saw it. But all the years that I'm talking about, 1980, 1981, 2001, 2020, all those years were considered recession years, but yet home values still increased at least 3.5%. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. And like I said, I just really kind of wanted to give an overview of kind of really, what's going on in the market, how the market is. Gino, I'm so grateful, for you having me on the show and for everybody listening. And, obviously, of course, if anybody has questions about the market in their area, looking to buy, looking to sell, or, really just want to know what their home is worth. I actually had a great conversation with a past client. He purchased from me 3 years ago in Upland. He paid $525 for his house. It is now worth $850 in 3 years. And so, like I said, if you're just, not really wanting to sell, but hey, I just really like to know what my value is. That's exactly why he reached out to me. So, happy to help in any aspect there is. So I see you pulled up my website. Thank you, Gino.
Yep. We're showing you where you can reach out to Cindy right here, cindycarava.com, CINDYCARAVA.com. And then you can get everything on here, listings, former projects, all sorts of information, and anything about how to contact you to get started. Just, this is the command center. This is a home, and then the email here, phone number, everything that you need to get in touch with Cindy. And it's flashy too. It looks nice, doesn't it? Even up here, it does look very nice. So Cindy, thank you so much. I think you really helped a lot of people out there. I know you helped me, especially over the last couple of weeks, and just having some of these conversations with you. And you're starting to make me get. You're definitely the catalyst for me starting to get ready to do this. So I appreciate.
No pressure, Gino,
I definitely know where I'm going.
Yeah,
in the next time, little bit when those decisions are ready to rock. We're calling Cindy Carava. We're getting in touch with Cindy Carava. As you heard, she's so knowledgeable and very nice and kind, right? When you're dealing with someone that's going to be helping you out and you're going to have a lot of conversations with, you just want to be talking with someone that you enjoy talking with and is looking out for you and wants what's best for you. So I've always had that relationship with Cindy. It's our wow. I was going to say we're getting older now. It's I have to change the ads that I talk about how long I've known you all the time now. So it's like, wow, it's getting longer and longer. So
we Cindy, do go back a ways, don't we?
Yeah. Thank you so much. And make sure to tell the family hello, and we'll talk again real soon.
Great. Thank you, Gino. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, folks, make sure to give her a follow there and check her out on all social media. CindyCarava.com is the website. Don't go anywhere. We'll have a lot more on coming up on That's What She Said.